Hello and welcome to Coffee with Times of Manipur. Today we have an artist called GOURI Jayakumar, aka Palpi Shilpi.
Hi.
Welcome to our show.
Thank you so much.
So how has been Manipur and how's been your experience here?
Oh, it's been amazing. I just came 2 days back and yesterday was the festival, Kumnu festival, for which I'm here, and it's been amazing. Yeah, so far.
Okay.
The weather's absolutely fantastic. The food's great. I've just been enjoying myself.
So have you tried the food out here?
Yeah, I love pork. I've just been eating, and I like in Northeast. I like anything with bamboo shoot. I just love all of it. I just want to go explore everything right now.
Okay. So how was your concert?
Concert was fantastic. You know, it was in the middle of the city, right? Like in the ground. And usually I perform electronic music with spoken word, a little bit of poetry here and there. And it's kind of like underground music. It's not mainstream. And I was really afraid that, you know, it's such a public, open ground. It's not like a specific kind of a festival. I was afraid that the people will just not like it. But everyone loved it. They were dancing. They were like grooving to the bass grooves and the drums and everything. And I was very lucky yesterday. I really reached out and they reached out to me, and it was fantastic. The experience was fantastic. And Kutumba, a band from Nepal, like really unique sounds. My friend Manmeet, she slammed it with her hip hop, you know. So I really enjoyed Soulmate. I've been a fan of them for like years now, and I got to see them play. So it was very exciting.
Okay, so you had a wonderful time.
Yes.
Okay, so how did you start your music?
The journey itself?
Yeah, your journey and everything. How did it happen?
Yeah, so I started playing guitar when I was 15, when I was in school. Then I was a journalist for 7 years. I continued playing guitar in that time, and I released one album while I was a journalist as a singer-songwriter with my guitar. And then it was just more journalism and a lot of confusion. But I always played, and I always wrote songs since I remember playing the guitar. And that has continued. And then I quit journalism, went and studied a little bit of music for about a year, actually, 10 months. And I came out, and I've just been figuring out how to do this. You know, each time you face an obstacle, you find a solution within yourself. You know, so that's been my journey so far, and I've arrived at where I am right now. I want to just be able to produce my own music, set up my studio. My dependence on other people, I need to like minimize that as I go along, because I have a lot of songs that I want to share. I have a lot of artists in mind that I want to help produce and bring out there in the world. So I'm just trying to empower myself in whatever little way, and there are people always enabling me, you know, consciously, subconsciously. So that's where I am right now. That's been my journey so far. Okay,
that's wonderful. So was it difficult for you to, you know, leave journalism and choose music as a full-time job?
At that time, I think I'd been toying with the idea of quitting journalism for a long time. I mean, since 23 or something, since I started doing anything else apart from music, I kept thinking, when am I going to quit? But then the romance of music at that time helped me a lot. It was an easy decision to make at that time. If I had to quit now, it would be difficult. I'm 33 now, and I'm not so romantic in my, you know, vision of the world. I'm more practical, more jaded over time. So it was easy then to quit, because everything looked bright, everything looked positive, and it is all positive, but there's that romance and that adventure which gives an energy. So all obstacles are part of that journey. You're not affected by it. But as you get, so it's good to quit, you know, when you feel passion. You know, as you wait longer and longer, an inertia sets in, and it becomes more difficult. So it was not difficult for me to quit.
It was not?
No, but it was difficult to live after that, because I had a steady income, and I just was thrown into this completely unknown world. I mean, playing guitar in your bedroom is completely different. Although I'd done a few small shows here and there, it's completely different from making it a profession, you know. And there's a reality which bit me, you know, which continues to bite me, but then I'd rather get bitten by the music bug than
Can you talk
else.
about the reality a little more?
Reality is, when I quit, I mean, at that time, even the few shows that I did, I had bargaining power. I could say that I should get paid so much if they didn't give me that show, it was okay because I was a journalist. I could go back, I was getting a salary, and I was occupying my time and space. I mean, from a financial point of view, when I focus, once I quit, it's like if they told me they can pay me only 2,000 rupees, I had no choice but to take it because that's the only money I'm going to make. So from having a steady bank balance to having my own, you know, my own space to live in on rent, obviously in Bombay or wherever, I had to go back to like, after like 10 years of independence or something, I had to go back to like, there were times when I didn't have money for rent, I didn't have money for bills, I would have to go back to my mother's house, and she was not happy about any of it. You know, she was like, you just became an independent woman and threw it all away, while you should have been more practical about the whole thing. She cares a lot about independence, right? Financial independence. So I compromised a lot on that, you know, and it affects your philosophies in life, it affects a lot of things, you know. But I think consistency is the one thing that helps, you know, and I'm beginning to understand now, it's been 7 years since I quit, that it takes time to build, you know. You cannot give up because things are hard, you know. I always dreamt that I want to do everything on, you know, I want to be able to create music, share it, you know, not let it get diluted by the commerce of things or by the gimmickry of things. So I want now, not just for my music, I want to create a platform to push music heals. You know, I believe like we live in times where there's so much conflict, so much confusion, identity crisis, everything. What helps is art. You know, art really helps heal and build. You know, people are angry, all these things, you need release, you need expression. That's the importance of art, music, all these things in our lives. It's not a privilege. It is not an indulgence. It is important for us to grow and for us to build. So to enable that and remind people of the importance of this, you know, being able to express your problems or, you know, showcase something which is bizarre in your mind, which has no room anywhere else in your society, through music, through art. If I can be an enabler in helping them arrive there, I'd be very grateful in life, you know.
Okay, that's wonderful actually. So let's talk about your music. And you do have different names. So would you like to tell us about it?
Yeah, so my first album I released under this moniker called Cosmic Cow. It was just something everyone when I was in school, my name is Gauri, so everyone, it became a nickname Cow, to call me Cow, Kawabanga, whatever. And then Cosmic Cow was just like a social media, I think Yahoo chat or something, I don't remember back then. So it just stuck, everyone would call me Cosmi from then. And so I released my first album, Sad Little Shoebox, in 2009 as Cosmic Cow. And then obviously the name had no meaning, you know. I was just like, okay, I'm not Cosmic Cow anymore. And then I had a band for 4 years. We were working together. We had written a bunch of songs and gone around. I mean, the band lineup also kept changing. That band was called Run Pussy Run. I think it was around the time that Nirbhaya was being spoken about a lot, you know, so I thought it was like a double meaning, you know, Run Pussy Run. It's better to be afraid and save yourself than be exposed to. It was just a satirical name for me, a pun almost. And the other is me being a coward myself. You know, I'm afraid to do certain things, although I know it's the right thing to do. So it was just a double meaning sort of a name that I was playing around with. And so in that we started calling, I became Mama Kitty, because it was my band, and everyone else had their own little names, like there was Baby Kitty, you know, and like this, you know, like, so we all had our names. So Mama Kitty became another solo name for me, under which I would play acoustic guitar and move around. And the band was a freak funk band. We call it freak folk and funk music. We loved jazz and R&B influences. We wrote our songs. Now I have Pulpy Shilpi. Like, there's nothing new about this avatar. Like, I've been toying with this for 4 years now. But it's now that things are happening. I just released my first EP, my first album, my first project as Pulpy Shilpi on March 15th. It's there like on all these major distribution
channels. Please
channels.
tell our viewers where they can find your music, where they can find your song.
Okay, so you can find my music on iTunes, on Spotify, on SoundCloud. These are the main places where we go and consume music. There's a bunch of other places. The album name is Slough, S-L-O-U-G-H.
Okay.
It's like cough, slough.
Okay.
It means shedding of old skin so that new skin can be born, like what snakes and insects do, and I do it too, you know, with my project. And it's under the name Pulpy Shilpi. The name came about because I didn't want anyone to know I was experimenting with some weird music, and I wanted to release it and not let anyone know it was me. But now I'm very proud to present it as me.
Check her music out and appreciate her because she's really, really good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So the next thing I would ask you, please tell us something about your music, the kind of music that you're doing.
Okay, right. So throughout with all my avatars, I've always been very attracted to lyrics, wordplay. I love wordplay, like, you know, so anything that tells a story, that describes, I love writing, you know, but my writing is kind of stunted, it's kind of like lyrical, rhythmic. So I try to imbibe that in whichever avatar I've been in. So right now with the electronic music that I'm producing, there's all this bass and drums. I'm trying to make it club friendly somehow, you know, I'm trying to make it electronically like very complete, you know, big sounds. But at the same time, there's a storyline. The stories are often a reflection of what I have experienced, but I might redirect it to another person. I might make a protagonist, I might make a character, a little girl, a little boy, or an old man, whatever it is, and tell the story through that person, you know. These are my experiences. So Slough itself has 4 songs. One is called Warrior, which is like when I'm growing up as a little girl, we don't know about what is the story itself is about this little girl checking out an older woman through a keyhole and appreciating her beauty. Now it has nothing to do with whether this girl is like a straight woman or not a straight woman, nothing like that. It's just there's a curiosity, a sensual curiosity that we all experience throughout our lives, and it's just appreciating that you stop for a moment and something fills up your senses, and you're not directly part of it, but just in viewing the beauty and viewing and appreciating that, you're just embracing being alive, you know. You're being a warrior to life and the beauty of life, and that is what it is about. And it's kind of erotic the way I've presented it, just for the effect of it. And then there's a song called Love Machine, which is more Para Shapora is a song which I wrote between Para and Shapora. So with all these songs, I try to be courageous, you know. I'm trying to not dumb down any of my feelings, you know, which is what I appreciate in the musicians that I listen to, and that's what I'm trying to emulate also, that they're not trying to talk down to you, they're not trying to simplify, you know. When they talk about love, so many love songs are so simplified. Love is such a conflicting, scary emotion sometimes, or a feeling, or whatever it is, you know. It can be so violent, it can be so beautiful, but when they dumb it down and make it sound so like vanilla, it irritates me. I'm like, there is some truth about it which you are denying to yourself and to the people that you're presenting it to. So I have always gravitated towards people who have said things and brought out the essence of it without watering it down. They're fearless in their expression, in their sounds. They're saying, okay, I know you're not used to it, but I still want you to understand this experience of mine, and if you can even relate to 10% of it or 2% of it, it's something, we have connected somewhere, you know. So they make honest, they're fearless, they're honest, they're not bound down by gender, identity, you know, upbringing. So that's the kind of music that I gravitate towards, and if even like 1% I can manage to get that, you know, of just being, you know, being the example, you know, not trying to tell people what to do, but just being that person who's doing it. It pleases me, it satisfies me, it gives meaning to my life, you know. That's what my music is about. When I say fearless, I feel like we put our own creativity in so many categories. Will it fit here? Is this sounding good? No, don't worry about anything. you have something to say it fearlessly. Your art is the only place which allows you to do it. There, if you start building, you know, so many like boundaries, then man, you're never going to do it anyway. You know, it's like that.
Okay. So through your music, what kind of audience do you expect?
I don't expect anything.
Okay.
I just wish to. I am reaching out to the youth. There is something, but the thing is, youth is a state of mind. It could be an old man that connects with it, an old woman, could be a child, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It is anyone. I don't even know sonically how many people enjoy listening to my music, or how many people enjoy me as the person that I represent to be, you know, myself to be. The point is, I just want to do something which I naturally feel, you know, when I'm writing a song or when I'm telling a story. I have a song called Freak Emotion, which I wrote about abortion, you know, which maybe is my personal experience. And I'm just saying that the song itself talks about a person that is kind of feeling numb about everything, not feeling extreme pain or tragedy, not feeling extreme, you know, relief or anything. It's just like, as a gender, the way we've been brought up is to view motherhood in a particular cultural sense, and I'm like, if you don't, it's fine, you be true to yourself. You know, there's another song under Palpi Shilpi called Kadal Mannan. Kadal Mannan was the name of this really popular actor called Gemini Ganesan from the south. And you know how in the 50s and 60s you always had the guy being this roadside Romeo, and he'll be like 40, 50, and the woman he's chasing must be 16 or 17, you know, and just the way we've consumed cinema has been so misogynistic and patriarchal that I wrote this song saying, like, you know, my mothers and my aunties and my grandmothers, you have developed an idea of what your child, your daughter should be, you know, be very intelligent, everything, but be the perfect woman for your man. And by this age, you know, you be good to marry and everything. And I'm like, okay, listen, you had your entire trip with your romance of how a guy should be, how a woman should be. You were waiting for your Prince Charming to come save you. Please don't bring those ideas. And I'm saying, I'm using, unfortunately, I'm using Mr. Gemini Ganesan and Kadal Mannan as the example to say this to my mother. I say that, you know, you've planted all these seeds in my mom's head. Now, please, after a decade, leave me alone, because I don't need this. You know, I need to do other things, and I don't need a guy to enable that. I need company. Sure, everyone feels lonely, everyone feels solitude, but I kind of don't need a guy for my safe. I mean, we all need each other for safety, but let's not make it a personal thing that you need to be there to protect every aspect of me. I have my agency. I can do whatever I want to do. I don't need you to come and give me permission, you know. So it's like that. It's not aggressive. It's very sweetly, I'm requesting that don't bring all these patriarchal marriage ideas into my life.
She has pointed it. I hope they watch this episode, and I hope your mother watches this episode. So we'll look forward to that. So going to the next question, I'd like to know electronic music. So where do you see electronic music in today's world, or in India basically?
Sure, I think this is the future. Everything we do is electronic, you know, whether we like it or not, or whether it's good for you or not. Like, you know, just yesterday this uncle was telling me that the more you expose yourself to so many electronic waves, there's carbon deposits in your body, and I don't want carbon deposits in my body, but I'm sitting in front of a laptop, in front of all kinds of gadgets all day. Okay. You know, so it's the reality. Now, for me personally, electronic music, it has opened up. Before, music was for you needed to have money to go to a studio. You needed money to hire someone, you know, to do someone to make some. It was specific. Everyone had a specific knowledge which was not spread out, right? Everything about the music industry has been broken down because of the electronic media, because of technology. And for me, electronic music itself empowers me. Every time I sit there and I'm like, I want to make this kind of a sound, I can do it all on my own. Now, does it sound as good? There's so many negatives to it. A person who has been working on working with orchestras all his life, suddenly the music producer says, no, I'll just make it on a plugin. you have created that much of an unemployment right there. But this is the future. Now, if you don't embrace this, you are missing out. You know, for me, this has empowered me as an independent musician. Otherwise, I would have to depend on another label, and then they would ask me to sing a certain kind of song. I will not be able to tell you my story.
Yes.
But now, because of the electronic medium and and technology, I'm making a certain kind of music which you have access to immediately, and I don't need anyone's permission before I show you my song.
Okay.
You know, I can just release it. And electronic music itself, my sensibilities have grown so much that the way I perceive sound has changed from music, you know, music being melodies and music being, chords and progressions and instrumentation, and instruments and a band and the story about the band, to textures. Electronic music enables you to access, you know, gazillion textures. You know, you can really dive into the world of sound with electronic music with very little investment. Okay. You know, so if you're really passionate about sound and about exploring different methods of storytelling, and this medium really enables you to do that. It's a very empowering tool. Okay. You know, and it's a world in itself. Once you start indulging it, it's addictive. I used to hate, you know, I had the same thing. I was always with the guitar. Anyone who played a melody by pushing a button, I'd be like, what is he? You know, I would be so cynical. Only by doing it have I understood that this world is infinite. Okay. You know, so I'm enjoying it right now. I love it, you know.
So where do you see our industry, like our music industry in India? What views do you have about it?
I feel like there's no one music industry in India. We are all connected now. The only industry I see is one that integrates, that exchanges, that communicates. By categorizing one as one thing and not blending it with the other, we are kind of just making it worse for ourselves, you know. Having said that, right now there's such a prominent mainstream culture in India, right? Like Bollywood has been borrowing from all kinds of music, and I appreciate it for that, you know, from funk to jazz to, you know, electronic. It has been borrowing, but the others have been sidelined, you know. And I feel like as the music industry has enough to create platforms for all kinds of music, you know, it does not have to be mainstream, does not have to be one way, you know, and underground does not have to be one way. The idea is to create platforms which are welcoming everything, you know. It's like if I'm making experimental music and you're making, let's say, tribal music, that platform should accommodate both. There should be interaction, because if we don't, it's only through interaction and change that things evolve. So if we want the industry to evolve, if we want to evolve, if we want music to evolve, it only happens through integration. It only happens to exchange. You know, we like something, we pick it up. You like something, you know, you blend it. That's how things grow, you know. I believe that for not just music. I believe that for any kind of study, any kind of even religion. You know, you have to shed old skin and go with the new. Because if you are there to make a person's life better, your old practices cannot exist anymore. Your medieval practices, which were apt for a certain political time, it has no relevance anymore, you know. So everything has to keep going through change, and the music industry has to go through change too. You cannot be stuck in your formula, because the world around is changing. So change. That's it.
So where do you see your acceptability of the electro musicians, I would say?
I don't know. When I was writing this music, I have heard a certain few artists. They were making sounds which for me was like, this is mind-blowing. I want to know how to make that sound. I was reading poetry of certain artists, or like seeing the spoken word performances of certain artists. I was like, man, I want to tell my story like that. So it just comes to an experiment, you know. You're sitting there and you're like, I have all this. Can I try and make something like this? I made it. I released it now, but I went to Sri Lanka with the album. I toured through Goa, Sri Lanka, and now I'm here. You know, it's still very fresh. People are receiving it. I was very scared. I've had one terrible show in Bangalore where people stopped me from playing and they said, why don't you do covers? And why don't you sing us some Beatles songs? And I'm like, I'm there with a certain kind of equipment, certain kind of a mindset. So that was very disappointing. So I've been on both sides. Some people like it, some people don't, but that's part of your journey.
Yeah.
My thing is I just want to spread it to as many places. You decide, you know, like if you like it, you like it. If you don't, it's fine. The idea is that I should still get a chance to reach out to you so that you decide, you know. I don't judge myself. Other people are always there judging me. So I save that energy to do other things, you know, like, so it's just that I don't see anything. I see me by doing this. That means if I can do this, then 5 other people who are worrying about this can do it. You know, so that should be the only agenda of all this. If I can go out there and make some weird sounds and some people can appreciate it, then don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try something new or to do something innovative. I'm not saying my work is innovative. I'm saying I'm trying to innovate for myself, you know, like that's it.
So where do you see yourself as a musician in terms of versatility and acceptance?
I actually see myself as the I'm working on a collective right now, and I'm working, it should become a label eventually. I'm still trying to understand how to get investors. If there's someone who's an investor right now, please reach out and help me with this. Right now, it's called Obscure Labs, like a play on obscure, the word, but it's obscure. And we are just, I've reached out to some of the underground musicians, mostly my fellow sisters, you know, like who are also like going through a certain conflict that is familiar to me, you know, and we're trying to claim spaces, we're trying to equalize things. I don't want a stage that's for females, just like you don't have stage that is said dedicated for males, right? Like, so let there be integration, let there be equality. Equality is not when you just suddenly give a stage and say, there you can go and play there. This is all for everyone else, you know. That's not equality, man. So stop offending me by doing that, you know. So that's just it. Like, we are trying to change the narrative, you know. We are trying to change the narrative of the musicians, of the storytellers of our times. We're trying to encourage them to report about what they see around, you know. If you don't document it now, it's lost. The only thing that lives through time is art. Good art, I mean, of course, if it stands the test of time, it's good art. And you want to make sure that 100 years from now, your narrative is heard. You know, this is what they're saying, you know. You want to report about what happened here, you know, and that's all. We are living on earth. All we have to do is live, you know. In our time and space, as an artist, I feel our job is to document the time and space through the craft, through the skills that we develop as artists, musicians, or as people, whatever, you know. And this Obscure Labs is to encourage people to make original, really original, tell your story, original art, original music, which and create a platform for that and create an audience for that. Like people keep saying people don't demand it, but people often accept what is given to them. So start giving them something which is enriching, which enables them to question, you know, and go out there and be like, feel inspired, you know. Don't dumb them down, don't give them more. It's not just about selling alcohol and getting them drunk and like dancing and waking up, you know, feeling hungover. It's not about that. You want them to feel inspired about their life, and it's this collective is about that, and that's where I see myself head. It's not about me anymore. It's about what I can do, and that would satisfy me more. You know, past 7 years it's all been me, my struggle, my achievement, and I feel like it's not satisfying anymore. It's like, I'll keep doing. I love sound, I love music, I love words, I have stories to tell. I'll keep doing that, and that's one thing which will constantly be. But am I going to be like on stage with Beyonce? I don't know. You know, I don't care for that, you know. But if we can build a community doing what we do, I'm excited to be part of that conversation. That's my future.
Okay. So we'll take a short break here. We'll be back with more conversation with Shilpi Shilpi. Stay tuned.
advanced booking for events, conferences and party. 50+ covers. Aris Tower since 2002. Kindly contact us at 9612719966. Address Uripokhuidrom Leka, UK Road, opposite petrol pump.
Hello, good morning sir. Welcome to Lamjingba Motors. How may I help you?
lamjingba motor na miyam da kana ba piri basing se kari kari no
Khudong chaba kaya ma pizari. Aikoina phanganjari ba product sing di trucks, tippers, haulage, bus, amasung genset ni. Documents ichang changdana adomi sale amadi matam manghandana loan gi khudong chaba pizari. HDFC Bank, Lamjingba Finance amadi Shriram Finance kasu khutsamna na junction minari. Matik charba khutsu khulai amadi crane yauraba. Aikoi gi sport servicing van adom gi damakta matham pumbada leijari. Bus sing yon madanatana school, college, universities, office ki dama contract basis da lobi bagi khudong chaba su thamjari. Amadi genuine lay parts sing su pangdigani. Adom gi mai pakpana aikoi gi mai pakpana.
Lamjingba Jewelry na adom-gidama khwaidagi asengba sana khwaidagi ahongba sana asamalda fanghanjari. Aikhoigi service singdi inat yoiba design sing ready made ta fanghanjari. Singnaningai oidraba asengba sana khaktamak pizari. Manung matam sana order delivery sing pizari. Sana asamal khwaidagi nemna lawjari. Nomaizing numitsu adomgi service ta leizari. Nasimak Lengsin Birau, Lamjingba Jewelry Private Limited, DM College Road, opposite Memsi Mall, Thangmaiban, Imphal West. Email lamjingbaJewelry@gmail.com. Website www.lamjingbagoldbank.com. Contact us at 764293445 and 940-299-2391. Lamjingba Jewelry. Good quality is our priority.
So welcome back. So we'd like to know who were your biggest influences in music.
Many, like when I was growing up, I was completely into rock and roll. I loved Led Zeppelin, Guns N' Roses, you know, AC/DC. Loved a lot of blues, you know, folk blues, you know, Robert Johnson, all this I loved.
Okay.
Then there was a whole phase where I would only listen to like jazz singers like Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday and you know, Sarah Vaughan. It's just different phases, but in songwriting, as a songwriter, as an acoustic songwriter, I found the greatest inspiration in Nick Drake.
Okay.
He died young, you know, and from England, and I love his music. Firstly, I loved the music itself because it sounds beautiful. His voice is beautiful. His guitar playing is beautiful. I love songwriting guitar. Like I love exploring the fretboard in a very minimal way. And Nick Drake is one of my favorite songwriters. His songs were prophetic. His words, the way he would describe a story, it affected me a lot. It may be influenced. I don't see it, but I know that I admired him so much that somewhere maybe I might try to sound a little like him subconsciously. I'm not sure. But other guy is Tom Waits. The lyrical, the spoken word. Tom Waits has been doing this for a long time. You know, now it's coming up again. I love Tom Waits. He would tell stories in this dirty, gritty manner, which was very honest, raw, sensual, and with influences like circus music, you know, carnival music, jazz, you know, Broadway, everything. He would draw influences from everywhere and present a story, you know, from the beginning. It's like watching a movie, you know. I love that, you know. It's like you have only few instruments, but the effect is so grand, you know. It's like, wow, where you're transported. There's a beginning, middle, end. It's like you're subjected to a different reality, you know, like a fantasy, you know. And then I love Joni Mitchell, especially for her guitar playing. You know, I learned a lot from that. And yeah, I like heard lots of Beatles, Bob Dylan, everyone. Nick Drake and Tom Waits are my go-to singer-songwriters. And then now, as I started listening to more electronic music, I love this producer called Tipper. I mean, because when you say electronic music, sometimes it's very linear, and if you come from a musical background, going into just linear music, you don't understand what it's about. That's just one kick and bass, and like everything is so linear. And I came like with my band and everything, we would always keep trying to explore like different time signatures, go from 4/4 to 5/4 or whatever, and like non-diatonic music, we would try to explore it, you know. And then suddenly going into electronic music, which is kind of, it seems linear, and then you start understanding that it's straight, there's a steady kick, there's a steady bass, because what's happening around with the textures, the sonic space is unbelievable, you know. So you can't change this also, you need something to anchor the listener, you know. So you have something straight here, and then you explore the world of sound with all these textures. So I really like the psychedelic aspect of electronic music, but there's artists like Tipper, who's a producer, and OTT, Ott, I don't know how people call him, I call him Ott. These kind of guys, you know, in our time, we have, like right now, there's this artist who keeps coming to India called Daisuke Tanabe from Japan. All these guys explore sounds and tell stories. They're storytellers. It's like, for me, it's like they're being lyrical in the way they are playing with sounds, because it still flows very beautifully, you know, like it's not like detached. It's not just sound, you know, they're building a story with it, and I really love that, you know. So those are the artists from a technical point of view, what inspires me. Then the artists that are like totally being brave, saying what they mean, you know, calling out on society or whatever, on themselves. When you reflect on yourself, you're reflecting on society, because you're part of that, right? So there's this poet and spoken word artist called Kate Tempest from the UK. She's so in your face and like so powerful. I love her. I recommend that everyone who even likes a little bit of hip hop, maybe rap, maybe, or just, you know, stories, check her out. Words, you know, she's a wordsmith. She's fantastic, you know. And there's artists like who have I been listening to? So many, you know. There's all the old school guys like Bahamadia and Ursula Rucker. All these people always told their stories, and I really like it. Like I like stories. So these are the storytellers that I go to. Okay.
So any artist or musician that you would like to collaborate with in India?
Kate Tempest. Oh, in India. Okay. Oh yeah, plenty. Which we are doing. Manmeet, MC Kaur. I want to work with her. You know, I definitely do want to either work on a project with her, or we are already doing things together. We're getting to know each other. So she's someone that I would like to work with. There's an artist called Suyasha Sengupta from Calcutta, who goes under the moniker of Plastic Parvati. I like her spirit a lot. I like how she's so punk in her approach to things, and I want to work with her. There's so many artists, man. I want to work with any artist like who's out there, who's aligning with me, you know. So I'm very excited about that. And even across media, I want to work with artists, you know, like dancers or painters or you know, in any other medium, visual artists. I want to work with everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are your future plans?
Immediate plans or in the long run?
Any immediate plans, any long runs that you have with your music?
Yeah, with Obscure Labs, the collective that I was talking about, we plan to, right now I'm just making mixtapes of my favorite artists. Like, so when I say mixtape, if I like an artist like Manmeet or like Tipriti from Soulmate, when I meet them, I ask them if they can make a playlist of their favorite, what they listen to, what has inspired them, and we put it together with like a little bit of a DJ set sort of a thing. We put it together as a playlist and we present it to the world, saying that this is what Obscure has been doing now. We have about 5 mixtapes so far. Just reach out to the most inspiring people and ask them to share their influences, their inspiration, and make a mixtape out of it and share it with our listening community. So far it's been women. Not consciously, I have asked two guys, they have not responded yet, you know. So it feels like there's a injection of a female narrative in our listening patterns. Otherwise it's always someone else deciding for you. Now I'm saying this is what she's listening to, go listen to this, you know. By the middle of this year, I want to release a compilation of some of these kinds of you know, left of center, artists who are pushing the envelope, who are innovative, experimental, release a compilation under my label, Obscure Labs, just to set things in motion, and by next year it would be a label. So this is what the plan is. Personally, I want to just tour with my album and start work on my next EP, which has some really, you know, it's kind of immature but angry songs.
Okay.
One is called Without a Lover Man. It's like just how my life is simpler when I don't have a boyfriend or something like that. I'm free and there's no complications in my head. As soon as a guy comes in, my reference changes.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, I start behaving differently, you know. I start doing things to please the other person, and it's just a reflection of that. And there's another song called Middleman, which is about how between the artist and the consumer, between the creator, the farmer and the consumer, anyone who's creating or making and the consumer, there's a guy in the middle, and he has so much power while he has nothing to lose, you know, and he has the power to change the taste of people, change the preferences of people, and how he uses that, it's been very damaging also, and they also have the power to make it better. So it's just a reflection on that. So this is the next EP that I'll be working on.
Okay, so are newcomers or new upcoming artists welcome under your label?
Yes, anyone who has material, who has something to say. Obviously there's a certain discretion, right? Like you want to know that it's at a certain level, you know, of production and stuff, but we are there to even enable that, you know. Even if you don't come under the label, we are there to tell you what you need to do to get there, you know. So it's for the artist, you know, it's for encouraging this. So yes, definitely.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So finally, we'd like to know that if you have any kind of message that you would like to give to the society, to the musicians.
Firstly, to society, I feel like we are confused. We're living in confused times. We confuse lack of resources with other things like culture and, you know, tradition. We should just spend a moment before we get angry with a certain gender, a certain community, a certain religion, and understand if the person that you're blaming is at fault, or is there something else at play? Is there a political move behind all this? Is there a fight for resources behind all this? You know, once we see that, then we understand that the enemy is not your people, is not the women getting jobs, is not people of any particular religion going to pray. It is somebody else. Maybe he's selling weapons, maybe he's selling something else, and someone is always selling something, and you are obviously, when you're angry, you're a victim of that, you know. So just think twice before you choose to get angry with anyone, you know. Just take a deep breath, think about this, think about who is benefiting from your anger and from your suffering, and then redirect that energy, you know. It's like we are living in angry times. You can really, all that anger is great energy to redirect in building, you know. Don't waste time on anger, and anger in a sense of destructive anger, you know. Don't go out there and do things because you don't know what to do with yourself. There's always something you can do with yourself, and you know, that's where you need to go. When we look at things like rape, all these things which are bizarre in our country, people are not just raping for pleasure or something. It's like, it's a disease now. So we need to go back and start healing. There's a lot of healing. I feel like our country is really suffering. It's hurting somewhere deep inside, and in this hurt, all this, you know, when you have a wound that you don't heal, it starts giving pus, and you know, it starts smelling bad, and it starts, you know, spreading disease, right? That's what's happening. We are not addressing this core thing of healing this land that provides for us, and that's where all this you know, hurt and wound and disease is happening. So we can't just keep cleaning the disease from outside. We have to go deep within, and let's all do that. And we can do that through music, we can do that through art, we can do that by deciding that I look at you not as a person from this place, but as a human being, and I respect you as a living thing on earth, you know, and you respect me the same way. We start our conversation on that, not on, oh, where are you from, you know, what's your age, you know, how many boyfriends do you have, how many girlfriends do you have, or you know, what's your faith. we don't have to ask these questions.
Yes, of course we don't.
So we can make it more creative and more enjoyable to know each other. To be human beings on earth, we can make it a pleasurable experience. That's what I would tell the youth. Don't waste your time on being angry and doing destructive things. It's not going to help.
That was a wonderful message, and I hope it reaches to everybody out there.
I hope so too. Thank you.
So finally, what advice would you have for the upcoming musicians or the musicians who are trying very hard?
Sure. Like, apart from all these messages about being fearless in your music and in the way, it's just meditate. You know, if you are trying to be a singer, she's a singer, you are a singer, you know that if you have to sing well, you can't do certain things, right? Now you are aware of that, so be aware of what you want and work towards it, because the power is all in you. You know, it's not outside somewhere, it's not posters and stuff that's going to help you sing better. You know, it's not any of that. It's you have to put in the power, the effort to sing better. Similarly, if you want to release an album, if you want to be touring across the country or the world or anything, learn the tools that will empower you. You know, it's like, if you need to put out an acoustic album, learn how to record the acoustic guitar, you know, and you can do everything. The thing is, you need very little investments now. Once you've saved up that much, you can sit, you know, you can go to work, come back in the night, sit down and do this on your own in your own bedroom. It might not sound like it's from, you know, a top studio, but in the beginning, for your first 3 projects, go explore like that and really study. You know, people overlook the importance of study. You know, everything aside, being a musician and the gigs and the parties, what will really attract gigs or opportunities to you is you meditating on your work. You know, if you want to be better at something, you have to sit and study. So do that. Do not be distracted. If that is what you want to do, sit and study, struggle, maybe 3 years, and you will start, or maybe 3 months, I don't know, depends, you know, and you will start seeing that things come to you, you know. But when you're scattered and running around saying, I want to do that, I want to do this looks good, this looks good, you're kind of like diluting that energy. Meditate fully, you know, on whatever you're doing. So that's what I would say to any upcoming musician. Be fearless. You say you want to do something really big, like, you know, perform all around, you know, the world in the next 5 years, make it happen. You can make it happen. It's all in your hand, you know. All resources are available online for free. You know, from YouTube to Coursera, you have tons of resources that enable you to teach yourself everything. So learn it and just do it.
Okay. So guys, this was Palpi. She'll be sharing her experience and giving us wonderful messages. So we're glad you are here.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we have this small hamper for you from lamjingbatomtv.com.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. Cheers.
So guys, stay tuned for our next episode. Till then, take care.